Well, hello, church. Welcome to the midweek update from your pastor. I'm grateful for this particular week as we are bringing the summer to a conclusion, as hard as that is to believe. It's been a really busy summer here at First Baptist Arlington. Even in the midst of this pandemic, we've been engaged in ministry across the life of our church and touched the lives of a lot of people. I'm so grateful for that, and so I'm thankful for our staff. Just their hard work, their investment in ministry, and just right now as they've had to make incredible adjustments in their own personal lives and their own families' lives, and then they had to make adjustments in ministry, and I'm just really proud of them and I'm grateful for them. Thank you for your prayers for them and your support of them. They've really done an outstanding job during this pandemic. And now we're bringing the summer to a conclusion, and we're starting to turn our gaze toward the fall. And I'm really looking forward to what God has in store for us this fall. I'm standing here in my study here at home. This is where I've spent a lot of time. I always spend a lot of time here, but I certainly have during these last few months. It's a place where I spend a lot of time here praying for you and praying over your lives and what's going on with you, and praying for our church and praying for God's wisdom, God's direction. This is where I study and spend a lot of time preparing. And so this is a special room for me. And you probably have already noticed that the star of last Sunday's worship time is right here behind me. Nipper is back in his memory cabinet, or in my memory cabinet, and along with a lot of other memorabilia from my childhood and my life and my home church behind me here. And so this is just a meaningful place for me. It is the intersection of a lot of things for me, and my heritage in my life, the heritage that I received from my parents, the faith that they lived out in front of me and poured into my life, my relationship with my siblings, and then the life that Cindy and I have had together, and then my current life, the calling that God's placed on me and the opportunity to engage in this ministry in very meaningful ways. So yeah, this is a special place for me. It's holy ground here, and so I'm glad to be able to share a message with you from this very significant place in my life here today on Wednesday. Our Bible reading today is found in John 15. And I want to just share this text with you because it's so powerful, and it is right at the heart of what I believe our church is supposed to be about. It's from the last night, the last earthly night of Jesus' life, right before he was crucified on Friday. So on this Thursday evening, he is sharing this tremendous, impactful material with his disciples. And John records much of that for us. So let me just read to you from John 15, verse 5, where Jesus said, "I am the vine, you are the branches. If you remain in me and I in you, you will bear much fruit. Apart from me, you can do nothing. If you do not remain in me, you're like a branch that's thrown away and withers. Such branches are picked up, thrown into the fire, and burned. If you remain in me and my words remain in you, ask whatever you wish, and it will be done for you. This is to my Father's glory, that you bear much fruit, showing yourselves to be my disciples." It's a powerful text. I love this teaching from Jesus. Some people like to go to seed on what Jesus says in verse 7, ask whatever you wish and it will be done for you. But I want you to notice the key to that text, though. That message from Jesus is actually shared right before it. If you remain in me and my words remain in you, then ask whatever you wish. Well, here's how I see this playing out. At our church, we have embraced a statement of mission, and that is becoming fruitful believers, influencing our world for Christ. That's really what our church is about. Everything is aimed at that. We talk about that in staff meeting. Even this very week, staff meeting on Tuesday morning, we talked about that mission, becoming fruitful believers, and then influencing our world for Christ. Well, that's what this text is about. So that mission statement is actually rooted in the teachings of Jesus himself. So Jesus says, abide in me, spend time with me, get to know me. Let my words, he says, just fill you. And here's what's going to happen. When you abide in Jesus, when you spend time following the Jesus way, and you walk with him in your life every day, and you allow his words and his truth to saturate your mind and your heart, here's what happens to us. We're transformed. And God begins to change us and shape us into the people that he's called us to be originally. And we can live into our purpose. And so Jesus says, if you'll do that, Well, then ask whatever you wish, and then I will respond to you. Well, what Jesus is actually teaching us is, if you'll abide in Christ, and if His words will abide in you, you'll start asking for the right things. That's why He can make that promise to you. You see, we're all prone to ask for things. I mean, that's just natural equipment for a human being. Our grandkids have been with us a lot this summer. They have no shame in asking for something. Can I have that? Is that something I can use? Can I use that? Can I touch that? Can I have that? Can I drink that? Can I eat that? I mean, they don't have a problem asking for anything. We know what they're children. And that's just how it is. Well, we're that way. We ask God all the time for things, for stuff, and answer our prayers. Do this, do that. But here's what Jesus says. If you'll abide in Him, then here's what's going to happen. You're going to be changed, so you're going to start asking for the right things. And He says, so if you'll ask in that direction, I'll respond to you. Then He says, you'll start bearing fruit. And when you bear fruit, Jesus says, it's to my Father's glory. And whenever we're able to do that, well, that's when our lives begin to take on real meaning. And we fulfill the very message that our church gathers around, glorifying God by following the Jesus way. That's what God's designed us to do. And so if we bear fruit, if we receive the teachings of Jesus, if we abide in Jesus, well, we will give God glory, and our lives will be to the praise of His glory. And that's really what God's after. Anybody can live for their own glory. Our world is saturated with people who live for their own glory. But that's not what God's designed us to do. He's designed us to live for His glory, so that our lives can take on meaning and purpose. That's what He invites you to in this relationship. That's what our church is about. We're trying to help you become a fruitful believer so that you then can go and influence your world for Christ, and others will find their way to those purposeful lives and meaningful existence. That's my prayer for you, that God will use you in that regard. Well, here at First Baptist, again, we're bringing the summer to a conclusion. And I'm grateful for all the ministry that's taken place over the summer. Looking forward to the fall. Those of you that are parents of first graders or grandparents of first graders, this coming Saturday morning, you can come by the church, by the children's building. We've got a little popsicle drive-through, and you can stop by there, bring your first grader with you at 9:30 on Saturday morning. And those first graders will get their little shirts, First at First, and they will get to meet their new Sunday school teachers, and they'll make the transition from preschool ministry to children's ministry. The reason that I'm so invested in that is I've got a little granddaughter who'll be doing that this coming Saturday. We also have a grandson who's made the transition from children's ministry to youth ministry, as he's made his way into the 7th grade now. And he's been assigned a mentor in our youth group. They call them bigs. And so Josh has gotten his big, and he's very excited about it. I know many of you parents have shared with me your excitement about that as well. It just means it's fall. Transitions are coming. And as those transitions come, we as a church want to be there with you at those intersections in your life, and we want to help guide you through them, because we want you to continue to abide in Christ through every stage of your life. And so that throughout our lives, we will give God glory in the way we choose to live. Well, as always, if you need us, we certainly invite you to call us. You can write us, and we'll do our best to respond to your need as best we can as a church family. So let's continue to hold on to each other, stay connected to one another. I hope that we'll be able to see you in worship this coming Sunday, and I look forward to seeing you soon.